All right, everyone. It is still September, so I am still on one of my favorite Final Fantasy songs for background music. Hmm. Yeah. Final Fantasy IX's world theme is just really good. I think we can all agree on that. But a little bit of an update. So I have skipped a few streams recently, and that is mainly because I've been having computer problems. Just some bad hangups. Not sure if it's because of updates or just because this PC has been having, it's starting to get a little older and I have used it quite a bit. So that's a little unfortunate. So there's been a couple of streams that have been missed. Sorry. I'm trying to make sure that the PC is in good shape before I do another live stream. So yeah. But we have some JP news today, and we're going to try and make a short little video, around that 10-minute mark. So, first of all, something to note is that we have a brand new raid coming up on the JP side for globalers. Maybe some extra preparation time if you want to get ready for this one. Because this one, I think, is going to be. I think it's going to be a good. It's going to be a good raid. I think there's going to be some good gets on this one. Just let me pull up my notes here because I seem to have forgotten really quickly. So here we are looking at a black costume clothing, and it is UR quality armor, as is to be expected. But this armor, I assume, is going to be for probably essentially June and her. I would assume that it's going to be more magic resistant armor for a physical base unit, because that seems to be June's weakness. And I feel like they probably want to complete her kit. We'll also talk about something else that's coming this week on the JP side that's going to complete her kit a little bit more. But there are two bosses, so let's take a look at the bosses really quickly. First one is going to be the deer, the earth deer, who is a recent addition of a summon. Now, of course, this is a earth-based summon, so it is going to be wind weak as well as slash weak. So it's June is the big weakness here, but I think there's a couple of summons or a couple of characters you'll be able to run. Apologies for that slip up there. But I think you'll be able to run probably Belush or Howlet and have a really good time with this one. I imagine that Tifa and 2B, for those who have those limited units, will make this fight also a pretty easy raid. I don't think this one's going to be too difficult, but it kind of depends what this summon gets for maybe a status effect, or maybe it's a high counter rate. I assume that it's going to have something to do with it being a fast summon, because one of the things June does really well is reducing speed. So maybe that's going to be the big feature here. As for the secret or rare boss, this time it's Lich. So Lich is going to be soil as well. So we have essentially two earth. This is going to be the all wind raid. Probably can run dark or other elements, but wind is going to have a big advantage here. And weakness will be shooting and magic. So yeah, wind mages, everyone who is a Halloween Leela fan, and I know there's at least 3 of you because some of you appear in a whole lot in YouTube comments and whatnot championing her. So here's your chance. Now you get to use her. But with Lucia getting her EX next week, that is probably going to be the character that is primarily focused for the rare raid. But rares aren't really any kind of difficult in getting to level 10. You got to be doing a fair bit, or be very lucky. So I think this will be a solid raid. Scrolling down, bonus units. We have 2 big bonus units, and Global should not be expecting this in the future, I wouldn't think. Probably be someone else for the second one, but June is the obvious one. and Swimsuit Elsie is the second one, so that's pretty interesting. As for middle, Lucia, Miranda, Lucio, who everyone can get very easily, so that's an easy middle bonus if you're looking for someone. And who is it? Rafal? I think that's the new ice-based or the ice selection quest unit. So pretty good mix. Definitely two limiteds. If it ended up being not Swimsuit Elsie in the future, because she is a limited time, that's a good get for global. So hopefully it's going to be somewhat different. This is 4 months in the future, so January. I don't know. Maybe they'll pick someone a lot easier to get and that will just be a good one for global. As for the bonus cards, scrolling down, the bonus cards include the brand new UR one that we're going to talk about in a minute. Pledge of Reunion of the New Research Subjects. That's the Lucia card with the red panda on it. And as for small, Unreaching, Thought Breaking, some smaller cards, but nothing too much. So let's scroll over and talk about our two new vision cards for this following week. And since the June banner is out, as soon as these banners are in, well, I guess people only have one thing to spend their resources on. So a first new one that we'll talk about is the UR one, because this is really was not expecting this to show up. So we have Ahriman. Before, I guess it's just the other ones. Well, it is kind of an Ahriman, but do they consider that a class of creature in Final Fantasy? That might be a mistake, but it's a flow die. Anyway, taking a look at the Wind Vision card that you're getting off of this Vision card is a little bit of more of the completing June's kit. So what you're getting off of this, first of all, as the granted effect, attack up and single attack resistance up. So good for a physically offensive wind-based unit. As for the party, magic attack resistance up, attack up, and for maxing out the card, you also get increased dexterity of wind units. So I think this is a good get for the wind element. Is it necessarily the thing I wanted to see for wind? I don't know. I always have hopes for evasion, even though June is very not evasion, and this is. In terms of magic resistance, the Valentine's Saria Thalia is a big consideration for wind right now as a weakness, but it doesn't really help too much against other ice units. The increased dexterity is good, and the single attack resistance and attack up on the unit is great because there are some physical units that will love an extra attack boost for the wind element. So it's a good card. It'll depend a little bit on the numbers, but of course the extra thing is the summon here. And looking at the summon, Dark Silence and Petrification, or it looks to grant a status effect of darkness or silence, and as well petrification. And then it's just essentially a wind-based summon, which is good news for wind. I think I commented recently that I thought June really needed a good physical wind-based summon. And that's the question. Is this summon going to be more of a good get for tanks, or is it going to be better for physical wind? I would assume that this is a physical wind summon of some variety, whether it's either defensive or not. It could also go in a completely different direction and be a spirit / magic resistant summon that is attack based for June, which would, again, as we covered before, that's kind of the big weakness in June's kit, is that she is kind of very vulnerable to wind and potentially shooting. So maybe this summon shores up those resistances. Either way, I think that this is going to be pretty important for June users who want to use her as a festival unit. I think she's very, very strong. As a 100 cost unit, she's definitely strong. But I think as a festival, she's also quite promising. And so I really am interested to see how the summon ends up completing and rounding out her kit. All right, but moving on, let's head down, and I do believe it's stun resistance, but continuing on, the second vision card, and of course this vision card, you can get the first copy of it and the summon from doing the raid and getting up to level 5. So Lich is the new character, and let's take a look at Lich really quickly, starting with the vision card. All right, so this vision card, first of all, the granted effect is increased magic power up and increased maximum HP for soil-based unit. And going down to the lower part, the party ability, increase magic attack, increase damage limit, and for maxing it completely, increase resistance to slashing attacks of soil attribute units. So really like the way this vision card looks, because one of the characters that I kind of wanted to get a boost was Earth Elemental Magic. Earth Elemental Mages don't really have good vision cards to kind of fall back on. And hopefully, even though this is a lower rarity, I hope this is going to be a really nice power boost for like a character like Ruel, who is... Well, let's just head over to the Earth element for a second here, because, you know, it's kind of worth showing. There really aren't a ton of Earth Elemental Mages. You have Crive, and you have, what's her name? Rubiel. I actually like this character, but I haven't talked about her in so long that I kind of just misplaced the name. But yeah, I think that this is a really important vision card, and actually one that's probably worth the trouble of trying to max, just because its effect is, it feels nice. It feels like it's still giving Earth what it wants, but it's also giving a magic boost to the units that kind of needed it. So that's great. And switching over to the evaluation, or really quickly, or early evaluation of Lich. Summons Lich, damages targets within range centered around yourself. So pretty bland in terms of a summon effect. I don't think it has anything extra special about it. And that could mean that it's just a really good damaging summon. I mean, it is large, so that's interesting. But this is probably an Earth Mage summon, a specific Earth Mage summon, which is another thing that I think we've just been missing up until now. So I'm happy to see Earth Magic getting a lot more attention, because I was really impressed with the EX for Earth Elemental Mages the previous month, and Ruel, I think, is actually a great unit, and she's, you know, there's lots of mage-based summons, but kind of a nice specific element one for an element that doesn't get a ton. And obviously with wind getting such a high focus, I don't think that this is going to be... I think this can be kept relatively in check, but I'm very excited to see some Earth support. And yeah, you can just get the first copy of Lich. So, taking a look at it, we got Lich. We got 2 new summons coming to the game this week. We'll also have Lucia's EX to look over, as well as... Oh, I'm just trying to remember really quickly. Where's the producer letter? We're going to have Lucia, Lilith, and Naya this week, taking a look at their EXs. So it's going to be a good week for checking out some new stuff for different units that have felt kind of long out of the spotlight and are going to get some more spotlight in the future. Anyway, so we'll take a look at all that later. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.